Dan Willis here, and we're talking about how to remove a charge-off from your credit report. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, was originally passed way back in 1970, and this federal legislation gives you the right as a consumer to challenge and dispute any item on your credit report so long as you believe it's inaccurate, incorrect, or made in error. And we're going to dispute the charge-off item on your credit reports. There's three ways to dispute your credit report: online, over the phone, and by mail. Once the credit bureaus get your dispute, they first get to deem it valid or frivolous. Only on valid disputes are they required to investigate. And this is another conversation for another time and place, so we're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available for you there, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. Once the credit bureaus get your dispute and find it valid, they're required to investigate the item. They'll call it a reinvestigation, during which they'll contact the original lender or creditor and ask them to verify the charge-off account. If the charge-off account is not verified, then in accordance with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it must be removed from your credit report. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is very clear. Every item on your credit reports must be verifiable. This is how to clean up your credit report and remove any dings, blemishes, and errors legally and without just waiting 7 long, expensive, and embarrassing years. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. According to federal law, every American citizen is entitled to a fair, verified, and substantiated credit report. After all, when you think about how influential this 3-digit number, our credit score, is in our life, it virtually determines where we live, what kind of car we drive, where our kids attend school, and so much more. Before we share a little-known truth about disputing charge-offs, we need to mention if this charge-off is on all 3 of your credit reports, you'll need to file 3 separate credit bureau disputes, 1 dispute per bureau. For clarity, you'll need to file an Experian dispute to potentially clear your Experian credit report, in addition to a TransUnion dispute to clear your TransUnion credit report, and likewise with Equifax. Now let's talk about a little-known secret. Hang with me. When you dispute your charge-off account and the credit bureaus investigate the item, they're going to contact your original lender or creditor and ask them for verification of the account. Recall, the original lender or creditor has likely sold the rights to your account to the debt collector. We discussed that here in an earlier video. If you happen to miss it, we'll include a link in the description below. In other words, there is no reason for the original lender or creditor to verify the account. They've already received payment for the rights to the account, as in they can't earn any money by verifying the charge-off account. In fact, it's an avoidable expense. Thus, it's not uncommon for charge-off accounts at this point to not be verified when the credit bureaus investigate. The only financial incentive that exists is in not verifying the account. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Now let's talk about the challenge. The big challenge is getting an accurate credit report, and removing dings, blemishes, and errors is in getting the credit bureaus to follow federal law and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's estimated the credit bureaus receive 8 million consumer disputes every year. The credit bureaus don't investigate and remove even the most obvious of credit report errors out of the goodness of their heart. They don't even fix consumer credit reports because they're committed to having an accurate credit report about you. The only reason the only reason the credit bureaus investigate consumer disputes and remove errors is because federal law requires them to. And that's debatable. The credit reporting industry is roughly a $4 billion per year industry. Naturally, over the decades since 1970, when the Fair Credit Reporting Act was originally passed, it only makes common sense that the credit bureaus would pour money into Washington lobbyists to influence our lawmakers, and they have. This is a big reason we'd argue our politicians say the credit bureaus can decide what consumer disputes are valid and should be investigated and which disputes are frivolous and should be ignored. In essence, they told the credit bureaus to choose how much profit they want today and every day of the week. There's a long track record of the credit bureaus violating consumer rights and blatantly ignoring federal law and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They've been fined time and time again by our government for doing this. One recent example includes in 2015 when all three credit bureaus collectively settled and paid $6 million to 31 state attorney generals. 60 Minutes investigated this phenomenon and clearly showed how darn near impossible it is for the average American to remove even the most obvious of credit report errors. From the CBS News website about their 60 Minutes piece, they say, and we quote, "In our own investigation of the credit reporting industry shows that those mistakes can be nearly impossible to get removed from your record," end quote. Moreover, our politicians have known for many years our credit reports aren't accurate. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, even studied the accuracy of consumer credit reports. What'd they find? Roughly 1 in 5 Americans have an error on their credit reports. Howard Shalansky, director of the FTC's Bureau of Economics, said in the FTC press release, quote, "These are eye-opening numbers for American consumers." And he went on to add, "The results of this first-of-its-kind study make it clear that consumers should check their credit reports regularly. If they don't, they are potentially putting their pocketbooks at risk." End quote. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. And that's not all. Do you recall the 2017 Equifax data breach that resulted in roughly 145 million Americans' personal financial data being stolen? This crime was committed by members of the army of China's Communist Party. If you're unfamiliar, communists are the last people in the world you'd ever want to have information about you and your family. Communism is responsible for the most deadly episodes of genocide in human history. In just the last 100 years, it's conservatively estimated to be responsible for 100 million deaths. One great example of just how challenging it can be to remove even the most obvious of credit report errors is a woman in Oregon named Julie Miller. Miss Julie woke up one day to discover 38 bogus collection accounts on her Equifax credit report. Julie did exactly as the Fair Credit Reporting Act instructs her to and filed her Equifax dispute. For the next 2 years, Equifax continued to tell Julie her dispute was frivolous and requested additional information. Julie complied and provided copies of her W-2s, driver's license, hair samples, DNA, and her firstborn child, all to no avail. And yes, that's a minor exaggeration. Finally, Julie got fed up and sued Equifax and won. A federal jury awarded Miss Julie $18.6 million, and yes, this was later reduced on appeal to $1.8 million. Nevertheless, these collection accounts were obvious errors. They had a different name, a different social security number, different everything. They weren't Julie's collection accounts, but she was forced to pay the price along with her credit score. Hopefully, your circumstances aren't as dire as Julie's, and we don't share this to discourage you, but rather to inform you, as the Bible and every wise book admonishes us. It's vital to know your enemy. The credit bureaus are not your friend. The good news is many folks are able to work within the system, evidenced by the fact that every year millions of negative items are removed from consumer credit reports. In 2017 alone, over 10 million negative items were removed from consumers' credit reports. Let's wrap this all together here. Listen, it's not easy to deal with debt collectors, nor is it easy to deal with the credit bureaus. Their financial interest is not aligned with your best interests. Most debt collectors work on a consignment or commission deal, as in they only get paid if you pay. And many folks are left feeling like the system is rigged. Understandably, they feel like they're living in ancient biblical times and they're David going into battle with Goliath. And you're telling me all I get is this lousy slingshot and a couple of pebbles? Come on, man! Keep in mind, every last one of these alphabet soup laws have been passed to protect you. Not a one of these laws is on the books to protect the credit bureaus or the debt collectors. They're all for you, the consumer. And don't lose sight of the fact that your credit score is much like your grade point average or GPA in glory school days bygone. It doesn't matter if you're acing all your classes, if you're failing Spanish class. That one negative mark is going to annihilate your overall GPA. This too is true of your credit score and why it's of such paramount importance to remove any credit report dings, blemishes, and errors, as these are often the cause of a low credit score. We encourage our members to consider professional help in the form of a reputable, legitimate, and legal credit repair company. Alternatively, you'll have to be persistent, organized, and prepared to face some obstacles. You're not locked in bad credit prison for the maximum sentence of 7 long, expensive, and embarrassing years. Again, the good news is in 2017 alone, over 10 million negative items were successfully removed from consumers' credit reports. One of the best firms is the Lexington Law Firm. They've helped their clients successfully remove charge-offs, collections, late payments, medical bills, repossessions, student loans, and many more negative credit report items. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Again, that's for a free credit report consultation, and the toll-free phone number is 1-844-517-7627. This is Dan Willis. We're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available for you there, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. And of course, subscribe and join our congregation. Have a wonderful day and looking forward to talking to you again here soon.